Sometimes, no matter how much I plan and schedule, no matter how locked in I am, I feel like I'm always running out of time. I could be doing 20 things at once and doing it well, yet it feels like things are just flying out of my reach. I'm out of time. We are constantly always running out of time. No matter how much I give, no matter how much I take, how much I talk, how much I listen, no matter how hard I work, it feels like I'm lacking in some sense. The nauseating nervousness of not being enough at the right time. Do more, practice more, be better, blah, blah, blah. Yet, there are those simple, small moments of doing chores, the brief shared laughter between friends, the occasional smiles from a stranger, and sometimes just being silent and doing nothing that makes everything seem okay. In those small moments, it feels like infinities pass by. In some long moments, seconds pass by. Time itself, more than anything, is clearly totally warped by our perception. It is an illusion. This means that running out of time makes no sense. All we have is right now. That is all that can be. We are always running out of time. In the same way, we also always have enough time. I think the act of just doing one thing at a time does fix most of my procrastination issues. If I'm writing but I'm thinking about eating, am I really writing? If I'm working out but I'm thinking about her, am I really working out? If I'm eating but I'm thinking about doing the dishes, am I really eating? If you're not there, then you are always running out of time. You can go beyond that though. I think you feel that way about your career, your love life, your social life, everything. I know I certainly feel that about those things. I especially feel that way about love. Like I'm way too behind. I probably should be going on more dates. I should probably have had way more romantic partners by now. I should be more sexually active. I definitely should be making way more money. I should be more loving too. There are a lot of shoulds here that constantly make me feel like I'm out of time. I've definitely sacrificed some of those things hoping that will pay off for later. Funnily enough though, I think that is the crux of the problem. Sacrificing for future. Delayed gratification. Both those things are things we glorify too much. It is a cause of our feeling of always running out of time, in my opinion. Study now, sacrifice your social life, and you will eventually have a career worth living for. Keep having those all-nighters and drinking 4 to 5 Celsius, and eventually you'll be called a doctor. Keep working over and over and over again, and eventually you'll make a lot of money. Keep on going on hundreds of dates, even if it makes you unhappy, and one day you will find the one. Keep taking hundreds of basketball shots, even if you're not having fun, and one day you will make it at the right time. Keep uploading videos every single day, and one day you'll become famous. These are the sacrifices that we operate on, right? Work now and then we play later. I think in terms of experiencing satisfaction, this type of life is no different from a hedonistic lifestyle. We are attempting to stockpile on pleasure by limiting it. And no wonder it feels like time is always running out. I was never there to begin with. I can't count a single long-term thing that I've accomplished where the actual act of accomplishing it was more rewarding than the journey. It's always been the moments leading up to it, where I completely forgot what the goal even was. That's been the most fun. Sacrifice? Does that even really exist if we're hoping for something in return? It feels like not. That feels like a paradoxical statement. It can't both be a sacrifice and a delayed gratification. I think if we define sacrifice as truly intentionally doing something for the sake of it without any expectation of a return, then I think it's truly beautiful. This could exist. I do believe that. However, if we are sacrificing just to get something in return, then it cannot be called that. I think we must live in a way where we don't have to sacrifice. We don't have to delay gratification or find something so worthwhile that we are willing to sacrifice for it even if we get nothing back. I truly do feel this way about certain things in my life. I feel this way about dancing, for example. I know for a fact that I'm not going to get anything out of it that I know of. That I'm not going to have a career out of it. And I'm sacrificing time away from my friends, from things like partying or getting girls or making more money. In fact, while dancing, I get yelled at, I get rejected, get shy, I feel the feeling of embarrassment, I forget stuff, and I get exposed a lot, right? These aren't always fun things. And even though I'm not professional or nothing close to ever being professional, the act itself is so rewarding that it never feels like a sacrifice. I've never felt like it was a delayed gratification. I've never felt like I had to go somewhere from it. All those things felt worth it to me. It's like I was just playing most of the time. Like I was just there anyway. In times like that, I don't feel like I'm running out of time. I feel like I'm perfectly where I need to be. Think about that in your own life. There are some things where sacrifice does not have any foreseeable future, and you like doing it whether or not you get good results or bad results. I think that's where the sense of having enough comes from. I do think sacrifice, a true sacrifice, is a remarkable display of what I define as love, and what we probably define as love. For example, in Harry Potter, bear with me, Harry's mom sacrifices herself to protect Harry, and that bond of love protects him, right? That's what the whole story is really about. And there are examples like this constantly in the world. The mother of a deer putting herself in harm's way to protect her bond. A soldier dying in the line of duty to protect his nation. Or a monk burning himself in the fire to represent nonviolence. And I'm not saying I agree with all that, but I wonder what goes in the mind during these acts of courage. I imagine for some, they imagine a better future for themselves, right? If they believe in heaven or whatever. For others, they do it purely out of the act of love. They can't imagine living in a world where they exist without the thing that they're protecting. Similar to the way the deer protects her fawn, I imagine it's instinctual and automatic. I don't think the deer is thinking about a better future. That being said, though, I don't think this is how we normally use the word sacrifice. There is an idea, for example, that we sacrifice for our kids' future, yet we might expect something out of them, like them taking care of us in the future. There is an idea that we sacrifice for our significant others by providing for them, yet we expect something transactional back. We sacrifice now for the benefit of our own future. While obviously perfectly natural, I think this type of sacrifice is a large source of problem in all loving relationships. I think it's a cause of, for example, feeling like we wasted our time with other people. A lot of people talk about how years have gone by and suddenly you're with someone and you don't really recognize them. People become stuck in relationships that they never really wanted to be in. It just happened out of habit. It happened out of proximity and location. Sometimes it happens out of expectations and investment. Hope this person could give me something in the future if I bear with them for now. They're sacrificing the fact that they don't fully enjoy being around them, the hope that they will in the future. But we could clearly see how this leads to a sense of bitterness for us, a sense of feeling of bygone eras, a feeling of wasted youth and missed time, a feeling of bitterness towards a person who was never able to ever meet up with your expectations. All of this was our fault to begin with. No one else is responsible for that. You didn't have to do that. So that's why I think the type of love that I gravitate towards is the one where there's a constant engagement, the feeling of being alive, that there's some level of enjoyability right now. I don't want to feel like a burden to others. I'm sure they don't want to feel like a burden to me. If I am to sacrifice or take up a certain struggle for someone, then I want to be the purity of love, not the expectation of getting something back. That is an incredibly difficult act. And funnily enough, I think I find it more challenging in the context of romantic relationships than friendship. But this again just comes down to the expectations that we have of each other. And I think it actually makes things easier in the long run. This idea of expectation is primarily what's responsible for the nice guy syndrome. The type of guy that's only nice to girls to get something out of them, but then gets very nasty when they get rejected. I know we probably all want to distance ourselves from that kind of characteristic, but I don't think it's gender or sexuality limited, nor is it really only in a romantic context. It's similar to the problem of people that sacrifice years of the time in an abusive relationship, hoping someone will change. Same problem as a friend that's always giving you stuff and is super nice to you in person with a lot of flattery, but talks behind your back and is angry because you haven't fulfilled something that they want. The same problem as a wife or a husband that's holding back their bitter feelings for like years, explodes in the future through a very negative mean. There are expectations and the sacrifice was never true. It was only an investment. Say all this with the idea that I've done these things all the time too. I felt bitter about not getting something back. Didn't return the same energy. I've definitely been nice to someone in person and talked behind their back. That happens all the time. These are all qualities that stem from an unreal sense of love. It stems from a fake sacrifice. It stems from acting but not actually really being compassionate. If we do this, then we're bound to feel like we're wasting our time. Because we literally are. We're waiting for something to happen. That feeling feels so bad for me. So in my opinion, intention is everything. You could see how that would be related to the idea of running out of time. Because you're always hoping to get something in the next moment. From someone, from yourself, from life. The beauty of surrendering ourselves to this moment without any expectation, the beauty of finding joy in simple acts, the beauty of a true sacrifice, it all comes from our intention. Finding an activity that feels good to do, whether or not we get results. You might call that meditation, you might call that writing, you might call that doing your job, I don't know. Finding a relationship that doesn't feel transactional, where you don't have to get something out of them to love them. Being in a mindset where we have all that we ever needed. These things will certainly lead to a life, a truly courageous sacrifice. Not a fake investment, but a true love that permeates our existence, that radiates all of our aura. Even talking about this in this manner gives me some chills. In this way, time is not a problem here. It's always been our energy and how we act on it. The shortest lives can be the most meaningful thing you've ever seen ever. And the longest lives can be truly, truly dull. So give yourself right here without any hope for anything in return, and you'll have exactly the amount of time that you need.